Hi, and welcome to Knitting Blooms, episode number 38. Today is January 13th, and my name is Tina, also known as Bloomingknitter. Welcome to the show. Welcome to everybody, the new viewers as well as the old viewers. Welcome. I am recording today, which is when I actually had planned on recording. However, I had planned on being in Maryland recording rather than here at home. My trip to see my grandmother has been delayed for one day because of the snowstorm going through Ohio. And I could have left today, but I just thought that I might end up having a longer trip than if I waited another day. So I did decide to put the trip off for one day. I am leaving tomorrow to drive to the DC area. Probably be there Saturday and then Sunday and visit most of the day with my grandmother on Sunday and then come back on Monday. So the same amount of time that I'm going to be there, but just one day off a little bit. So, and as I started preparing my show notes and pulling out my projects that I worked on this week, I realized that I didn't do a whole lot of anything this week. I did do a lot, but it doesn't show with my projects because I only worked on two things. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. I did want to mention episode number 37. I noticed that a lot more people were watching the prize drawing episode than the actual episode. And I don't know if people realized that there was another episode. I realized when I went back and watched the prize episode that I didn't let everybody know that there was another episode as well for the week. So you probably thought, oh wow, she started the show weird and then she just didn't show her projects. Well, that's why, because there was another show, episode number 37, that has all my progress in it. So if you saw the prize episode and you missed episode 37, maybe you want to pause this for a minute and go back and look at episode number 37 and then come back and take a look at this one. Otherwise, we're going to move forward. So, this week, I did some knitting. I didn't have a huge amount of time for knitting this week because I knew I was going to be gone today. Well, I was supposed to be gone today. I actually ended up going to work today because I figure if I'm going to take Monday off, I might as well work today. I figured I needed to get all my work done so I could have a comfortable time just leaving everything and not have to worry about getting calls or whatever. So I was all caught up. So pretty much today was the first day that I had a lot of time to knit. But previously in the week, I spent a lot of time just getting caught up on everything to make sure that I didn't have anything that I was leaving for today. So I didn't get a whole lot of knitting time done. But as you can see, I did finish my Magrathea. And boy, did this thing grow. I'm not going to take it off because I just got it right to where I like it. I actually have this thing wrapped around my neck. The point is down in the center here, and I have it wrapped around and then around again. So I have two layers of the lace, because here's the lace at the bottom, and then here's a shorter layer. And then the other layer is under here, the other end. I think that this thing at least doubled in size. It's huge, but I like it because I can actually, if I can figure out how to pin it or put a shawl pin in it, I think I can actually even use it as a little shawlette if I got cold. But the way that this is now, I really like how it is. It's nice and big. Let me see if I can show you. I'll take just this one layer off. I have lots of space here, and it goes down quite far. So I really, really like it. And I will definitely be making another one of these. Now, when I make the next one, I probably will keep the smaller needle because it did grow a huge amount, because I did use a size 4 needle for this. I want to say that in the pattern, a size 3 is what's called for in the pattern. I don't recall completely. But I might try it with some semi-solid wool mice and the smaller needle. So maybe, we'll see. I do like this size though. I'll probably wear this one a few times before I decide if I'm going to use a smaller needle when I do the next one. But there will definitely be another one. And I am so glad that I got the 4-pack of patterns that this comes in. It comes in the Hitchhiker series. And I'm glad that I got all 4 because I think that I'm going to like this construction of a shawl or scarf or whatever you want to call it. I really like it a lot. So I'm definitely going to be making all 4 of them, probably multiple times. So that's my finished object. That's it. I did have 5 grams of yarn left over, just enough for a... Uh-oh, the phone's ringing. Anyway, okay, so what was I talking about? Oh, Magrathea. I did have 5 grams of yarn left over, which is perfect for a square on my sock yarn blanket, and I might try and do that this week. I don't know. The ball is already in my sock yarn bin for my blanket. Cody! Here we go again. Cody! Stop chewing on that! Okay. I'm going to be gone for a couple of days. I think these cats already know that I'm going to be gone. Anyway, okay, so Magrathea is done. And I just wove the ends in this evening while I was wearing it. I wasn't going to sew them in, and then I'm thinking, no, I really need to sew them in. But I didn't want to take it off because I had just gotten it to the perfect way I liked it, how I liked it, and I didn't want to take it off. So I was able to weave it in without having to take it off. So the one and only project that I realized that I worked on this week is one that you haven't seen before. I was supposed to be getting Stinky Pink, the second mitten started on Stinky Pink, and because I didn't really have a whole lot of time that I could just focus on the pattern, I didn't start it. The days that I had time to work on at work, it wasn't something that I could just sit down and be able to focus on it for a half hour or 45 minutes. I was picking up and dropping down my knitting every few minutes. So I didn't want to try and get that started with all the twisted cast-ons or the 2-color cast-on. I can't remember what that one was called. And then the twine border and all that. I didn't want to deal with it at work. So I figured at least this week, because it was busy this week, I figured I'm not going to work on that. So I did take it to work with me today, but because I thought I was going to have more time today because I wasn't busy. But I didn't work on it. And I took some other projects with me to work this week. Didn't touch them. I did do some spinning, but we'll talk about when I get to spinning. So I'll show you what I did work on. Here it is. Yep, it's my Haunted Vineyard yarn. And I'm doing the Yavain or Evain, however you want to say it. This is the yarn, the Haunted Vineyard yarn from Cloud Lover that I spun up, and now I'm knitting into the shawl. And so far I love it. I love the pattern. It is so simple. so easy. You can basically do whatever combination you want. If I did this again, which I probably will, I think I would shorten the stockinette sections a little bit. I think the first section was like 18 rows, and the next section was 14, and then it was 16. And I don't know if you'll be able to see the different sections. This first section is stockinette, and then there's seed stitch, and then there's some more stockinette and some seed stitch, and some more stockinette and some seed stitch. And then there was another section of stockinette. I think this is where the pattern actually ended, was here, and then I kind of made it up because I think this next section was supposed to be like 16 rows of stockinette, and then goes into the garter stitch edging. But I still had a lot of yarn, and I wanted to have a little bit more texture. So I did, I think, 10 rows of stockinette, and then 4 rows of seed stitch, and now I'm going to do some more stockinette rows. And what I did after this last seed stitch section, here's my marker, but my marker is marking my center stitch. It's not where I left off last time on this particular case. But I weighed my yarn after I finished this last seed stitch section, and I decided that I was going to do the last stockinette section until I have half of what was left, and I had 44 grams left after that seed stitch section. So I'm going to do stockinette until I get to 22 grams, or approximately, because excuse me, I still want to end on a on a wrong side row, and then I would start the garter stitch edging. But I really like this pattern. I kind of had to fudge a few sections. I think I must have counted wrong or something, because I think it was back up just after this seed stitch section, just after the first seed stitch section. I counted, and I had 2 stitches more on one side than the other. So I fudged it, and I just added those extra 2 stitches in when I did my next row. And then when I counted again, I had 2 stitches extra on that side versus the other side. So I must have miscounted somehow, and I really didn't need to add those extra stitches. But I think it's fine. I don't think anybody's going to notice. I can't even see when I look at it. I can't even tell where it was that I added those extra stitches in. So I'm not too worried about it. But I really like how it's coming out. I really like the way that it's striping up, and I have a feeling that this too will grow quite a bit when I block it. It's a fairly loose knit. I'm not sure, yeah, you can kind of see through it a little bit. But I like that. I like that about it. I am using a size 8 needle, but I do like that texture of the fabric. Which really, if you like that texture, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So I'm really liking it. I probably have, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 more rows of stockinette and then the border. So I have quite a bit of yarn. I just waited, I think, before this last row, and I think I had 34 grams. So I have 10 more grams of stockinette, and then approximately 10 more grams of stockinette, and then 10 grams of garter stitch. Although, I'm sorry, 22 grams. 10 more grams of stockinette, and then 22 more grams of garter stitch. And I do have to remember to save a little bit extra. I'll start weighing my yarn each row as I get to the garter stitch, so I have an idea of how much I will need for the bind off. And what I'll do is I'll just double, probably 2.5 times whatever I'm taking for a row, and make sure I have at least that number of grams left over, because I don't want to have to run out of yarn and then have to redo it. So I'd rather have a little extra than run out. But I still think it's going to be fairly big. I think it's going to be bigger than how the pattern's written. And she said hers, I want to say that hers I don't have the pattern with me, but I think that hers was 40 inches wingspan and maybe 17 deep. I can't really remember. But I think mine will be a little bit bigger than that. Although I have less yardage. But based on her numbers, I went by her numbers, and I would have been starting the garter stitch already. But she had 15 ridges of garter stitch. I don't know. We'll see. I'll see how many rows I have in the end. But I am liking it. It's a quick project. I mean, look how much I got done. I think I started it Tuesday. I think that was the day that I cast off my Magrathea, and I started it that day. I can't, it's hard to show you because it's bunched up on the needles, but there it is. I love it. I love the fiber. I love working with it. I didn't know if I was going to like, when I first started it, I don't know, the color's not going to show up all that great, but this color, when I first started my shawl, I have this grayish purple color here at the beginning, and I wasn't sure that I was going to like that color. However, I really do like it. I wish that there was more sections that were solid like that throughout the shawl, but it just really does add a little something to it. But I really like it. I love the texture. I hate seed stitch, but I love the texture of it. So that should be done by next week because I only have a few more rows, and this has been trucking right along. Well, not really a few more rows, but you know what I mean. I didn't mark down my yardage on that, but like I said, I think I had 34 grams left. In fact, I'm going to write that down. And I think I started with 4 ounces, but I'm not 100% sure if it was exactly 4 ounces because I really didn't weigh it after I spun it. I know that when I got the fiber it was 4 ounces, but everybody knows that you can't spin every single piece of fiber into your yarn. At least I can't. There's always going to be some extra stuff that can't get spun in. Anyway, oops, better put that back in there. This was my little lifeline that I had in my Magrathea, and now it's in that bag to be used again. So let's talk about spinning. I did spin this week. I probably did more spinning than knitting this week. I did pick up the Yarn Hollow BFL and Tussa Silk. I picked this up this morning because I had not worked on it all week, and I needed to be able to tell you that I spun on it. I did do probably about, I ran it up and down probably 1.5 times. So not a whole lot got done on this week, but I did get a bit done on it. And I am taking it with me to spin, to take with me to see my grandmother. This is what's left. I didn't weigh it yet, but it's not that much. I would like to still get this yarn finished spinning by the end of January so I can ply it, because I'm sure that there's going to be something wonderful that I'm going to want to make with it. And I think I am going to have to, when I wear this, I think I am going to have to put in a shawl pin. Just, I think if I... Cody, stop chewing on the tissue! Hey, come over here. Cody! Excuse me for 1 minute while I go take the tissues away from the cat. For some reason, he feels the need to eat tissues. Anyway, forgot what I was talking about. So I think what I'm going to do is, I have a little shawl pin that I might be able to just pin right there, just to keep it from flopping. I think I will do that. So anyway, Yarn Hollow, a little tiny bit of spinning on it, not a huge amount, but I have made progress. And then I did finish the first third which will probably end up being a half, of the Blue Moon Fiber Arts Polworth in the Grinchy colorway. There it is. And there's how thin it is. It's pretty thin. I still am going back and forth about whether I'm going to double ply it or triple ply it. And Diane from the Knittables gave me an idea. She's been doing a lot of spinning. And she said she just weighed her bobbin and kept adding to her bobbin until she had equal amounts, because she didn't weigh her fiber before she started. Well, I weighed my fiber before I started, but I put it into thirds. And I'm really, as I continue to look at my card, and I don't have my card here to show you today, but as I continue to look at my card, I keep thinking that I think I'm going to like the 2-ply better than the 3-ply. I like lightweight yarns, and although the 3-ply is probably a heavy fingering, I think I would like the 2-ply weight better. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to spin the second third and then split the third down the center and try and get it as equally balanced as I can. And then I'll just add to this. But I'm not going to make a total decision. I'm going to leave this bobbin for now and then spin, like I said, spin the second third. And then after that, I will decide what I'm going to do. But more than likely, it's going to end up being a 2-ply, and I'll just split the third in half and ply half of it on this and half of it on the other bobbin. The other thing that I have been spinning this week, which was kind of an accident, and the reason it was an accident, well, it wasn't really an accident that I spun it, but it was kind of like I needed to hurry up and spin it because I have 4 bobbins for my woolly winder. This bobbin is full with the Polworth. That is going to stay full. Cody, what is up with you? Can you come here and sit on my lap? Come over here. The Polworth is going to stay on the bobbin until I spin the rest of it. I do have 1 free bobbin, but then I'm thinking, I have 1 free bobbin, but even if I 2-ply it, I'm still going to need another bobbin to ply that. Now, I'm planning on ordering some more bobbins, but I don't have it in my immediate future right now to do that. And I don't know when I'm going to get the other parts of the Polworth spun. So, and then this one was on this bobbin. This is some BFL that I received at Knittin' in the Mitten. One of the participants dyed this fiber up. Her name is Cindy, and I don't think I'm going to pronounce her Ravelry name correctly, so I will just spell it for you. It's Kigilia-Kittien, so it's Kigilia Kitty? I don't know. Anyway, Cindy dyed this up, and I ended up with 4 little samples of it because I had mine, and then my friends who are not spinners gave me theirs. So I had this little bit that I spun up, and I had started it before I started the Blue Moon Fiber Arts Polworth, but I didn't finish it, and I still had 2 more little sample pieces. So this was on the bobbin, and I needed to get this bobbin free, and in order to do that, I needed to spin the rest of it, and I finished it up last night, and I am planning on Navajo plying it. Just because I need practice Navajo plying, and I have no idea how much yardage I'm going to get out of this fiber anyway, or what I'm going to do with it when it's done. I just need to finish it. So So I'm hoping to take my wheel with me when I go to see my grandmother, because I think she might find it fascinating about the whole spinning of yarn. So I'm going to take that with me to show her what I've been up to. And probably ply this while I am there this weekend, hopefully. And I think this is going to help me possibly get to my yardage this month, because right now I'm way behind, I think. I have no idea how much I've actually knit. I think last week I did something like 300 yards, almost 400. And this week, probably less than that, or maybe about the same. I have to figure out how much I've done on Evane. But this, because I'm going to count the singles. And if you are spinning and you have plied your yarn, you get to count the singles. So if you single ply it or you double ply it, then you count it twice, your yardage twice. If you triple plied it, you can count it 3 times. So this might be how I get to my yardage this month, because I'm pretty sure that this pole worth is not going to be done by the end of the month. So lots and lots of spinning this week, not so much knitting. Okay, before I get into stash enhancement, let me talk about the Knit Your Stash, which is what we're talking about when I talk about my yardage for the month. There are 47 people signed up for the January challenge, and I think that's totally awesome. I know it's going to be challenged to get 2,000 yards. I mentioned it on the boards, I think it was today, how having a monthly challenge might be even more difficult than the quarterly challenge, because you only have 4 weeks to do it. When we did the quarterly challenge, if you fell behind one month, you could catch up the next month. Well, if you fall behind 1 week, you darn better catch up the next week, or you're behind again. So, but 47 people have taken on the challenge, so that is awesome. Congratulations on taking that challenge on, and I hope all of you complete your challenge. I'm working hard to complete mine, and I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping that that spinning helps me along. So, let's get into stash enhancement. I have not bought anything. These are all still purchases prior to December 31st. The yarn diet is going well. I have to admit, I have not been tempted. And I've been watching podcasts that have been showing stuff. If there is anything that looks like, oh my gosh, I need to try that out, I have a little list that I have been keeping. And once the yarn diet is over, or if I fall off the wagon, I will buy something. But until then, I haven't been tempted. I think I kind of binged myself silly at the end of the year, and I have no desire right now to buy yarn, which is a good thing. However, I do have stash enhancements. So let me first show you, sorry for the crinkling, I will show you the lace yarn that I got from a D-stash. It is Vulmiza. Steve from Dramatic Knits gave us this whole big description on how to pronounce it. And I think it's pronounced Volmiza. I think that's how he said to pronounce it. So, I don't know. Volmiza. I guess the I is supposed to be like an R. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, I have to go back and watch that episode again and see what he says. Anyway, this is the yarn that I got to do the Mystic Roses. And I will probably wait to cast this on until I finish the Evane shawl. At least that. That No, that is my water, miss. You can sit right here with me. Talk to the camera. Show your cute little face to the camera. Come on, sit down. So, that is one stash enhancement, and I love it. I wanted something red for, or, you know, pinky reddy or whatever, for this shawl, because it is roses, of course. I had green, but I wasn't really feeling the green for that shawl. Anyway, so that will be the Mystic Roses that will be cast on probably next week or the following week. I'm not really sure. Crystal Crazy. And then I received my Blue Moon Fiber Arts roving. And again, this is the Polworth, just like the one I'm doing. This one, the Grinchy. But these are purples and blues and teals and this bright green, which I absolutely love. And it is the Zippity Doodah colorway. It looks so fun. I love how the blue, and I don't even think you're going to be able to see. This is like a teal, and then it's a blue. I think the depth of the color on the camera just does not do it justice. But it is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And when I was watching Round the Twist today, and Karen was showing all of her new purchases from Socks That Rock, I did jot down a few colorways that I liked that she had purchased that I will probably order in fiber at some point. And she got this Zippity Doodah colorway in light Socks That Rock. Socks That Rock lightweight. So, yeah, fun. I can't wait. It'll be a while before I spin this, because after I do this Polworth, I'm probably going to spin something else, change it up a bit before I spin that. And the last thing that I received as a stash enhancement this week is the Stitch Switch from Twisted. And I saw this on Knittables with Diane, and I thought this was an awesome idea. These are used to move the stitches off of your needles onto this tubing so that you can try your sweater on. Now, I do this when I do top-down sweaters or something that I need to try on, but I put a string in my stitches. I string the stitches onto a string, and I take my needles out, and then I try my sweater on, and then I have to put the needles back on the stitches, so the stitches back on the needles. And it is a pain. And I foresee this being a breeze. So I'm really looking forward to trying this out. And this particular size says that it is for a US 3 to a US 15. So this will pretty much cover the gamut of the sizes that I use, because I don't think I'm ever going to be taking like socks off the needles. And I don't know that I'm going to be making a sweater with size 2 needles. Possibly, but that would be a lot of knitting. So I got one for myself, and I also bought 3 more that will go into a prize pack at some point along the way. So, my plan to get my yardage done involves spinning and knitting for the Snuggle Project. If you haven't already heard, Sadie from the Yarnivore podcast is doing a charity drive for the Snuggle Project. I think she's collecting snuggles, and also you can just donate your snuggles to a local snuggle drop-off location. But you can knit a snuggle. Snuggle Project is for homeless animals. They ask that you knit some sort of a blanket or a bed or something of some sort. There's a whole list of projects that are free, that they offer free, that you can knit, or I think you can use your own pattern or whatever. So I am planning on starting a snuggle project. I don't know if it's going to be started this weekend, but it is going to be started soon. And then my spinning, I hope the yardage will help me get to my 2,000 yard goal for the month. Let's see. Next week, I think I will have more knitting time, because not only am I completely caught up in my job. I mean, I didn't leave one thing left. I mean, there is nothing. I mean, if I walked in and they didn't have any work for me to do as far as data entry or whatever, I have nothing to do. So, next week, I'm off on Monday. I'm going to be in D.C., or driving home from D.C. on Monday. I work on Tuesday, which will probably be a pretty busy day on Tuesday because my boss goes on vacation for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. And we know what it means when boss goes on vacation. More knitting time. And because I'm so caught up, that means that I won't have work from him to get to do. So I very well could get a lot of knitting done next week. And I'm planning on trying to do that. Also, I wanted to mention, you may have seen on Plurk or on the group, actually, not on the group, but on the Knitopia group, we had a few spots open up for Knitopia. We were able to fill one of them. However, the second spot is still open. It's for the first weekend for April 12th through 15th. So if you are interested in joining us in Lexington, Michigan, there is a spot available. You can contact me on Ravelry on the Knitopia group or the Knitting Blooms group. In addition to the one spot that is available for the first weekend, we also have midweek spots. I think we have 3 or 4 midweek spots available, as well as some day spots. If you are in the local area and you want to drive up for the day, we do have some day spots available. So you can get in contact with me if you are interested in joining us at Knitopia. And I think that's about it. I do have on my notes here for some iTunes reviews to make sure that everybody gives iTunes reviews to your podcasters, either a star rating or review. This week I actually was watching podcasts on the blogs. Usually I watch them in iTunes, and last week or the week before, I think I updated my blog with a whole list of the podcasts that I watch. So now I can go to my blog and then watch the podcast right from there, because I'll just click through on the link and watch from the blog. Whereas before, I didn't have a list. So like if I was on my work computer, I have all the podcasts bookmarked in my computer, but they're not bookmarked in my work computer. But by having them on my blog, I could easily link to everybody. So if I was at work and I had a few minutes and I didn't have my computer with me, or it wasn't turned on, or whatever reason, I could still get in and watch a podcast or two. So I really haven't been watching podcasts on iTunes this week, which is why I haven't done my reviews that I was planning on doing, because I've been watching them on the blog. So I need to get over to iTunes. And sometimes it's hard for me to do iTunes because I have my iTunes library on a separate hard drive, so I have to plug the hard drive in order to get my iTunes. And that's why when I plugged it in after Christmas last week, I think I had like 66 podcasts that downloaded. I think it took like 3 or 4 tries to get them all done, because I had to stop and turn off my computer for whatever reason. Anyway, so if you can, please leave a comment or a star rating for the podcast on iTunes. And I think that's about it. It's going to be a shorter show this week. A little shorter. Not a whole lot shorter. But I didn't have a whole lot to show you. Hopefully next week, after I have 3 full days of knitting, I will have a lot to show you. So, I am off to DC in the morning. I'm hoping to get this posted tonight, which means there is going to be little or no editing. And the show notes probably won't go up until Tuesday. I will try and get them up while I'm in the DC area, but I can't promise anything. So if you don't see them until Tuesday, don't give me a hard time, okay? And like I said, I'm going to try and get this uploaded before I leave, but it might be tomorrow evening that it gets uploaded. So that's all for now, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.